everybody, welcome back to the Harvest Insights channel. This is Elisa, and we talk on this channel about how you can use AI to improve your insights practice. I'm coming to you today with a more theoretical issue that I want to bring up, which is this whole idea of qual at scale. I went back in my archives of blogs, and I think I probably wrote this blog around maybe a few years into starting Harvest. So it's probably like 2016. And I've always been fascinated by mixed methods. I feel like this whole qual and quant divide is just a unnecessary way that we try to put things into categories. And I think that there's a million questions out there that require more than just qual or quant. And at the time I wrote this, there was no AI. So, I was really just dreaming, I guess. I always thought that those lines between qual and quant would blur, but I had no idea that AI would be what makes that even more possible. But I think the reality is at this point, I don't even know if we need to talk about qual quant. And this whole idea of qual at scale, to me, is silly. And the fact that we are so focused on just AI moderators to provide this qual at scale, again, makes no sense to me. I've always thought about qual and quant as things that should be combined. For example, years ago, we had pharmaceutical companies coming to us and saying, like, we have this great new drug, but doctors won't prescribe it. But we think there's patients that it would be the best choice for. And so what I did was invent a methodology where we would give doctors different varieties of patients. This patient comes in looking like this, they have these symptoms, they've been on these drugs, et cetera, et cetera. Then we give them the list of and ask them which they would prescribe. Now, we did all this within the context of a IDI. So I was sitting there watching them work through in their head and while telling me out loud why they would prescribe one thing or another. So not only did we understand what they were prescribing, but we then started to have reasons why they were prescribing, which was an incredible look at the psyche of physicians in America, which I will tell you all about, the crazy things that I heard during that, because it's been a long, long time. But regardless, I really think that this is the future. And so I just wanted to point out a platform which I'm going to be using, and that is Inca, which is a platform that was designed to be a little more qual quant agnostic. So it has a bunch of the normal questions that you would see. It even has choice exercises in it, but it also has some interesting guided fantasy projective, hot air balloon projective. So those are more like quali techniques that you can actually put into a quant study. And the other thing you can do is if you want to add a trade-off, more like a max diff type of situation, you can add that. But then right following it, you can add an open end. And this is more of a moderated open end situation. And it goes pretty deep with what you can do with this. So if you just say, why did you prefer, I don't know, orange, like if we were just doing a really basic choice exercise on colors, you can ask that question, but then you can turn on Smart Probe and ask it, ask it to probe on why that person did that. But for most activities and most questions, you can really combine this sort of qual aspect with the choice exercise and get more out of it than you would by just one or the other. So really think that the way we should be thinking about this isn't about, oh, qual at scale or quant this way. It really should be about like, what are the best methodologies, even in combination at the same time, that are going to best answer the question. And it's really thinking outside the box in terms of what we can how we use traditional methods. But the reality is that AI is giving us a lot more bandwidth to do things like this, where we are essentially just taking two methodologies, putting them together, and coming out with something greater than either one of them alone. So that's sort of my challenge to us as an industry, that, find more tools like this, or use your own combination of tools. Maybe sit in a focus group with people and have them do a conjoint exercise on their iPads that you've provided for them, and then talk about the results in the group. Like, there's so much more that we can be doing if we stop putting things into, this is my qual box, this is my quant box, and we can only do them sequentially. No, 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 we can do a lot more than that, and we can get a lot better answers if we do. That is my rant for today. I hope I'm going to spend a little bit more time with Inca, because it does a lot of other really cool things that I want to point out. But for now, I hope that, my rant inspires you to think bigger and better, and not just, let's go get an AI moderator and do it this way. All right. Hope you all are having a great week, and we will see you again next week.